I wanted to focus on is retirement. Because a funny thing happened. I looked up, and I'm a few years from retirement at this point. And I know people are retiring at different ages, but I've been talking about retirement for probably 10 years. And basically, I did sort of an informal survey. What I've been doing is when somebody retired or someone was thinking about retiring, I would always ask that question. And the question would be this: what are you going to do when you retire? Do you have a plan? And I've noticed the last few years, my friends and I, my siblings and I, we talk about retirement a lot. So I thought it'd be a good video to talk about. Maybe people in the comments can share their experiences, people they know, things they've done, things that work for them, things that didn't work so well for them. So retiring is something that it seems like people have a hard time making a decision about, right? Because people will say, I'm going to retire in a year. Then you find out later they're going to retire in 2 years, or they'll change the date or by months, or they'll do all these calculations. They're looking for this magic number. I have a really good friend, and she went to see a financial planner, which I would advise if you're thinking about retiring or even before retiring, seek out financial advice, because the money is a big thing with retirement, right? Where are you going to live? The money. Let's talk about how we got here. You know, you wake up one morning and you find yourself, where did all the time go, right? You were young, you had kids, you might have been married, you went to college, maybe not in that order. And then all of a sudden, it seems like it might be time to retire or think about retiring. You know, when you're 20 and 30, that's for old people. But all of a sudden you look up and you are that person, right? So I was thinking about maybe in the next 3 years or so, retiring. That's where I am in the journey. And I have a plan. My retirement dream is to be a kindergarten teacher. For some reason, I feel like that would be just the best job in the whole wide world, because I can't be a person that just sits at home with nothing to do. So even after I retire from my full-time position, I'm going to have to do something. Now, when you talk to people about retiring, one of the things you hear them say is, well, if they have a plan, I'm going to volunteer. I'm going to do all those things I didn't get to do when I had to work. I'm going to do nothing, Kim. I'm going to travel. Those are the types of things that people say they're going to do when they retire. But then when I actually talk to people that have actually retired, I've heard different stories. Sometimes the health didn't hold up. So a lot of the things they thought they were going to do, they weren't able to do. So that's something to consider when you're thinking about retiring. Sometimes the money adds up. Sometimes the money doesn't add up. And that determines to some degree what you're able to do. You find yourself sometimes in that sandwich generation where you have children and grandchildren that you're helping out, and then you have parents that you're helping out. So you might think that, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be able to do that. But because of commitments that you have with your community, that dictates to some degree what you're going to be doing in retirement for the immediate time anyway. The other question that comes up a lot is Social Security. Should you take Social Security at 62? Do you wait till your maximum age, depending on how old you are, as to when you take that Social Security? Some people say take it right at 62. When you do the calculations, that's the best. If you're married, that plays into it too. So I'm not here to give financial advice. I'm just here to talk about retirement. What works for you? What are you thinking about as you're retiring? When I think about retirement, I think about where I'm going to live. And in my mind, I always thought I wanted to live maybe 30 to 45 minutes from a beach. And maybe I could just wear some cutoff jeans and a t-shirt, some flip-flops. That's how I was thinking my retirement was going to be. I guess after school, since I'm going to teach, and on the weekends and the spring break and things like that. But I think that is the most important part about retiring, is the dreaming. There's not a lot of times when we can dream, especially as you get older, because reality always strikes you, right? But I think retirement is the perfect time to dream. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? You want to look at your health. You know, who has good health care? So I try to walk, drink lots of water, eat as healthily as I can. Been working on that weight, and that weight is a difficult thing to kind of keep under control. There's just so many choices out there. But in retirement, we want to be in good health, because the worst thing that could happen is you get ready to retire and your health goes, right? And you're not able to retire. The other thing is social. A lot of times we focus on the money part of it, but retirement, I mean, who you're going to surround yourself with, because you're not going to have those work friends. You know, a lot of us have work friends, or we have people we go out to lunch with, or things we do social with people. And a lot of those people are associated with our work life. But socially, do you have a church? Are you part of a sorority or fraternity? Do you have a social group that you, friends from high school or, alumni or something like that, or college? How are you going to feed your social life? Because we're social beings. We're a community-based people. Most of us, we may be introvert or something like that, or extrovert, or how they name different things. But most of us, we want someone to know that we exist. We want someone to hug, someone to smile at us from time to time. So thinking about nurturing the social aspect of your life. There's so many ways to do that. If you have moved, if you've transitioned, if you left your job, if you've retired or something like that, there are things like the Nextdoor app. They have different groups, book clubs and stuff that are listed on there. Meetups.com. It's not a social as far as dating thing like you would think. It's more of a people that have common interests coming together. I know at art parks, they have 50 and older. I'm in the Columbus, Ohio area, and they have 50 and over activities. They have journaling I saw on there. They have artwork. I took a cookie decorating class. So you can meet people doing things in the community, but you want to make sure you foster that social part of your life. And of course, the emotional. When you retire, will you still have the same emotional connections with people? That as you think about retiring, of course, the sooner you plan, the better. The earlier, the better. And if you feel like you don't have enough financials or you don't have all your ducks in a row, start now. The one thing about life is sometimes it can paralyze you because you see other people and you're like, oh, they're doing great. They have all the answers to everything and their life is just perfect. But I would say, because I see a lot of times like on social media, maybe Dave Ramsey headlines or subtitles on his videos, and somebody will say, I'm 60 years old and I have no money saved for retirement, or I'm 70 years old and I have no money saved for retirement, or I had to file bankruptcy, or something else happened. What if you were in those California fires or something like that? You didn't plan for that. Life just happens. And we just have to be flexible. We have to embrace our community, lean into our community when we need to, and the resources. We have to educate ourselves. And I'm just excited, really. I really am excited about retirement. There are other organizations like AARP out there as well. And the community that I live in Columbus, we have lots of resources for seniors in all levels of age levels. So I'm excited about the next phase. I'm wondering what it's going to look like. In my mind, I'm all over the place. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. And I just pray that God will allow me to have a full, rich life that I can bless others and that I can enjoy myself as a part of the process as well. So let's, in the upcoming videos, let's talk about retirement. Let's talk about my process for what I'm planning to do. I'm calling this stage of my life sprinting towards retirement, because I feel like within 3 years, I'm going to be retired from my regular job. And what that's going to look like to me as I discuss things with my friends and family, what our topics were. So I'll bring those to you, and maybe you can share some ideas in the comments.